Well, HYDRA put up quite the fight in that game one, but the end, just not enough to be able to topple 9Pandas. Beautiful thing, we've got a best of 3, and attention's going to be put on this second game in particular. Danog, we were saying that maybe for them we might want to see a bit of a draft with maybe some stuns and just making fights a little bit easier to execute. Are there any heroes that you might want to have them consider heading into the first phase for HYDRA?
Not necessarily any heroes. Like, what I actually want to highlight is I just thought 9Pandas Game 1 draft was exceptional. You know, like the fact that they had first pick, you'd given away second pick because they won the coin toss on HYDRA, and you still were able to make 2 lanes be winning lanes for you. You still had the later game scaling, you still had, you know, this big synergy where Windranger could have still been potentially, you know, a position 1 in the later stages. We've seen them do it, we've seen them run it mid lane as well, so the ability to have that to flex it over to Antares on the pause 4 role, it didn't really feel like the Windranger needed to do much of anything, right? She was more of like a distraction. She was a 4-star Solar Crest and Guardian Greaves bot, and not much else. You know, occasionally some really nice shackles coming through, but the game kind of played itself once it got past that 30-ish minute mark, and all 3 9Pandas cores became really farmed.
Yeah, maybe just her value as well. It was securing the Mags lane, or at least making sure Mira was able to have a better time into what they thought was going to address it, being the Terrorblade along with the Undying. So Mira was able to get a decent amount out of that lane, and now we look towards the second draft, and once again, it's actually going to be HYDRA this time that get rid of the Beastmaster. So you mentioned prior that you like 9Pandas removing because you felt like that's been the most impactful hero for Cloud, and I mean, I don't blame HYDRA from removing it as well, considering Mira has a ridiculously strong Beastmaster too.
I kind of do blame them though, because they have first pick this game. So if this was the game to pick it, they've shown that they can win games when they first pick the Beastmaster, you know, and I feel like I don't think Cloud had a bad game by any stretch. You know, he did a great job in his lane. He pushed the towers. His Fiend's Gate were always on point. I saw like 1 missed Pit of Malice, but, you know, it's 1 out of the entire game. What else can you really do? You know, he got the farm. He just didn't have the heroes to be able to convert onto it. So maybe that's just going to have him feeling confident enough to be able to say, you know what, I'm going to scale into the latest stages. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to be known for my, like, super narrow hero pool anymore. Like, we've seen him thrive on a Timbersaw, for example, which, you know, maybe you're going to get some value out of that this game. More universal heroes. Just give me that, HYDRA.
That's why the Mag's about to be picked up. Or the Techies.
Team pick.
Or the Deucer.
Deucer.
I swear it was Lil playing this in the 4 role. I didn't have a chance to look for it, but I remember seeing this, where it was a support position 4 Medusa in the top lane, but I couldn't find it.
10 seconds
but
remaining.
I'm going to just say that they have the potential for this place. I mean, you give Antares the potential for his techies. I mean, he had the pick of the litter, right? Like, this is just an absolute stable start for 9Pandas to go, right? Miero, totally capable of the Magnus. Ramses can play the Magnus as well. Techies, Solo's capable too, but, I mean, just Mag skewer back into a proximity mine. So much damage from afar. Universal heroes, so scaling, goes through BKB. Enough said, you know. I just want to see a little bit more protection given to this Deucer in the form of, like, some of these other bans out. I think you got to ban the Windranger, of course, but what else could you potentially look to do?
Radiant team back.
Just thinking, like, how do you even secure this lane? Fine, right? It just means that you're not going to have this Magnus powering up a Void Spirit. Feels good, and you're going to have scaling for yourselves too. Do they flex the Magnus to mid, maybe? Because that is, over time, been a bit of a counter to the Void Spirit. You know, if Void Spirit has one of those big weaknesses in the early game is that he doesn't start off with that much armor. So Magnus, kind of like the Tiny, just anything that has that cleave that's going to be able to both secure last hits and deal damage, physical damage to the enemy core is going to be really impactful. It's the advantage of that second pick for 9Pandas, right? So I would assume that it's probably going to be Solo's hero coming next, and then, you know, if they really feel like the Deuce is going to be a position 1, they'll pick Ramses' hero and leave the Kiyotaki hero for last, assuming it's not the Magnus.
I wonder if they feel like there's enough value to get rid of the Lich for HYDRA, because I think that's what Pandas will go for.
Yeah, a lot of physical damage so far, so makes a lot of sense to me. Plenty of lockdown as well to get value out of the chain
Dire
frosted.
team ban. Radiant
blame him.
team ban.
So no tinker, but let's see. I think this Lich is a hero that's starting to be valued where I think he should be. I honestly think he's like top 3 supports right now. So we'll see, because Frosher really is going to annoy the Void Spirit as well.
10 seconds remaining.
Of course, you've already gotten rid of the Undying. What else has Solo been playing?
5 seconds.
You saw the Enchantress is one of his best, if the Disruptor too. So let's see. I did want to mention a point with the Magnus as well. Just, I feel like that's another really good way to address the Medusa, like reposition. Medusa is always a hero that you want to build a formation around her. Like you pop her on the front line and everyone just sits behind her. Like she's a impenetrable wall. But when you shove that wall really far away from its anchor points, then it can be difficult for them to protect. So that's another really nice thing about the Magnus. That it's, yes, you might not kill the Medusa at that time when she's skilled away, but then it means everyone else has to step far forward, which can put them in a bit of an awkward position. So that's also like another really nice reasoning behind the Mag pick, if that you need any more with this hero already being super strong.
Right. Just move the wall. It's so easy. What, I'm wondering what they can look to play even into this Techie's Magnus lane, assuming that is the off lane, right? Like, you kind of need a melee to be able to stand in front of the Deucer, but what melee do you really want that's going to be not harassed to death by this Techies? Like, is it something like an Ogre Magi, something a little bit out of left field that's still tanky enough, gives a little bit of slow, some stun, and just beefs up your Medusa even more? That's really all I can think of. I mean, I kind of tinkered with, like, can you go AA into the tankies because you're one of the few heroes that can actually look to like stay at a similar sort of range, and I think AA still has a ton of value, especially with the new Aghanim Shard. Feels really good, but the lane Deucer AA doesn't feel so great. They just do it, why not? Solo's like, okay, I'll play my little bald Frostman again.
I was going to suggest the Enchantress for what you were saying. I mean, it's a ranged hero, but it pretty much acts like a melee with what he's able to do, and I mean there's value out of that ban, but also to protect the Lich as well, to get rid of the frost armor. So that's another big reason why they were looking to ban it out last, so it doesn't particularly feel the Lich.
Telegraph the Lich, yeah. I mean, Oracle doesn't feel great into this. Like, nah, I wouldn't be going Oracle. I mean, what other even progressive dispellers are there? There's Oracle, Enchantress, Invoker, Shadow Demon. SD's kind of okay, right? But it really depends on, like, Magnus is kind of a counter to it, right? Because if you're not perfectly on point, then you're just going to get repositioned, and then suddenly the hero that you want to save isn't in Sage Rage anymore, so it makes it a lot more awkward. Plus the lane isn't that great.
Dire team pick.
Visage, okay. Marcy. Spirit Breaker. Okay, that's a hero that we haven't really seen quite as much over the past few days. I mean, it still feels relatively strong to me. It's something that you can potentially put in that position 1 role if it really just is about securing a little bit more space for the Deucer. Of course, Lil's capable of playing it too. And maybe they just want to be able to find that Lich and get that quick pick off to start the fight, because a lot of the damage coming through from HYDRA now is still physical. So removing that frost armor is going to be such a huge tool to have. And of course, techies, you've also got the reactive taser too. So, I mean, Void Spirit, at least we know, Ramsey's that game previously, it was played from the position 1 role, but you are a nullifier builder, right? You get right up amongst it, so you can look to remove these big high impact spells, the Empower, the Frost Shield, the reactive taser, so I'm expecting to see Warwick go into that sort of strategy. But what can you even look to last pick here? I mean,
HYDRA?
Could they Marcy? Like a 5 Marcy? Pair that together with a Visage, give a little bit of increased damage to the Medusa for the lane.
Naga Siren.
Not a bad Naga game.
Dire team ban.
Oh, it is a pretty good Naga game. I thought they were going to pick their mid and save Ramses till last. I was going to suggest the Ember, but remember for Kiyotaka, like you said though, it's a very good Nagi game, so maybe they feel like there's more options for Kiyotaka
10 seconds remaining.
and less for Ramses, so they didn't want some of those heroes to get banned out.
5 seconds remaining.
So I wonder, does he go Diffusal this game for the Deucer, or is it just kind of his stock standard Naga build?
I think you can go Dusa very reliably. I mean, even just against some of these other heroes, right? You diffuse all the... use the active on the Spirit Breaker. Charge, not quite as quick. You also just completely remove his effectiveness at the start of the team fight. Doesn't take too much time, just a couple of seconds. And that's all you need to basically make it a 5v4 in your favor. So I think diffusel's totally fine. Yeah, they need some sort of way to be able to clear out these illusions. They don't have anything right now outside of the the Void Spirit, excuse me. I don't think the Deuce is going to be enough for it, but what can you even pick? Like, Pugner's banned, Dazzle doesn't feel great, the Lion doesn't feel that great either. Not too many options available, to be honest.
5 seconds remaining.
Wyvern, not the best for this sort of lineup.
Radiant team pick.
I don't know. They just ban a Morphling at the end because why not?
Yeah, that's like a... It's just a throwaway ban. It really feels like. I feel like they have no concerns right now on 9Pandas and what 5's going to come out. I'm still fine with your Ogre pick.
I'm saying Ogre, yeah.
Yeah.
It's Ogre or Marcy are my picks here. Marcy just because it's going to allow you to get a little bit more tempo off with the Visage and make it so that this Naga and Magnus don't have just complete free farm again this game. Obviously, don't get the value out of the lifesteal from the Deucer with the sidekick, but it is what it is.
You could SB5 and go for a different Visage pairing, but I think you really want the Spirit Breaker with the Visage, so it will go that Disruptor route, which we'll see. I mean, you're going to be... Yeah.
I mean... I think they just need to pick something that's able to protect the towers early, to be honest. Like, could you put a Magnus mid and run like Tide Hunter? I would be fine with that. Like, I know you don't really want to run Tide into a Disruptor just because it's one of the few things that can actually just negate your Kraken Shell and being able to run away, but if you just stop the Visage from pushing into your tower, Naga and Magnus are going to farm, and they're going to run over this lineup. Because there's nothing really stopping Mag Techies from having a really solid lane if you want to do that, but there's nothing really stopping Tide Techies from having a good start either.
Choose your hero.
I mean, fine too, right? Just more damage that they have coming out.
Oh man, that's
a
free Timber game.
And it's a pretty free mid-Magnus game too.
Oh god. I mean, we saw the Morphling last game be... honestly... not a game-winning pick, but it really felt like it was almost a nail in the coffin with that. Really made the draft difficult for them, and I feel like this Timber is going to be pretty similar. I'm
just looking at what the score was when it wasn't 9Pandas, it was Team Spirit Bet, the 23-2 score. I just wonder if it's going to be something pretty similar because I really like this 9Pandas draft. You seeing any good points about Hydras? Silence is deafening. You know what? Okay.
Go for it.
Let
me hear it.
No. I can't think of anything.
No,
I mean,
come on,
I'm just trying to think what sort of like checkboxes need to happen. Like, you know, you're pushing with a Visage and the Spirit Breaker finds a quick pick off, someone TP's in, you glimpse him back, you take a tower, you enable the Deucer to start putting that extra pressure on, you hit your level 15 timing with the Visage, and he has Armor Corruption, and you just take things super early. It's a lot of things that need to happen absolutely perfectly, but we'll have to see if those do happen. We got to hear from EGB first before we get into the game.
Bets on esports, bets on streamers, impressive bonus system. Welcome bonus up to $600. Cashback, artifacts, regular promotions, daily giveaways. Try yourself as a bookmaker. Great lines. EGB.com, more than just a bookmaker.
That quick 15 seconds. Mr. Danog, I need you to come up with something for me here, because odds are even
so the Deuce
favoring
is playing
Pandas
Radiant.
as well.
Deuce is
Nice,
playing
let's
Radiant. So you get the neutral camp buff, which is nice. 1.5 meta per second, very nice for a Deuce, just looking to farm, but to me, that's not really where Kami wants to be. You know, Kami wants to be playing a lot more aggressively. You want to be taking away this space that Ramsey's going to be able to farm on his Naga Siren ASAP.
Second item timing for Dusa, if they can end the game then I believe. I don't know if it's going to be Skadi Butter, or sorry, Manta Skadi or Manta Butterfly, whatever it's going to be. But I think it needs to be your second timing on the Dusha to start to end the game, because still Naga needs a little bit more, I think, to prove to be an issue, unless it's going to be like a Manta diffusal from her, then maybe she'll have a little bit more value in some of the fights towards Kami. But I think, like you said, I mean, you're really looking at Cloud with this Phylactery and Solar Crest to be rushing down objectives, and with the Medusa as well to act as the unkillable that stage of the game before really Pandas prove to be. Because again, they have a tricore lineup again. Like we're expecting Miro to have a free Timber game. Kiyotaka should have a great lane mid as well. And so the one thing for them is that, like, Pandas, their playmaking is pretty weak. We really don't see at the moment mid laners be your farming type of hero. Like, it's your spirits, your active heroes. So maybe that could be something for the boys on HYDRA to be able to get the ball rolling and be able to get these objectives once the Visage is able to hit 6 in some of those timings.
Yeah, and if they are those style of heroes, then you expect to see the position 1 kind of picking up the slack. You know, we saw last game Ramses playing the Void Spirit with the Morphling mid. That was the sort of strategy. Whenever we see a TA, we see things like, I don't know, a CK or a Monkey King. You know, these heroes that can look to get in and be a little bit more aggressive early on. But I mean, you would have to say that Miro going into this Vanguard feels almost unkillable. To be able to, you know, once he gets into that timing, it's going to force Kami out of the lane really early on. And then as soon as Antares hits his level 6, he's able to help out a little bit as well, just by proximity mines to be able to help take some of those towers. There really isn't anything that Happy could do against this deck. He gets outranged by him. He's going to be out-sustained as well. As soon as Happy moves forward, he's just going to be blood grenaded and potentially killed off early on. Like, I wouldn't be surprised to see Miro just go for a Timber Chain onto this Disruptor while he still can. And up top, kind of more of the same, right? Like, if they do find a pick-off, a lot of what you're doing right now on HYDRA, it's single target. You know, Spirit Breaker, Visage, even to a lesser extent the Void Spirit. So Solo, as long as he's in the right position to be able to land that Frost Shield, shouldn't be in too much danger as top lane. Lil.
Wow, they got him. I'd be able to get a return kill. Cloud's already used the Soul Assumption with the 1 charges. He'll have another round of it. Solo trying to duck into the trees. Doesn't have too many Duke angles there, so it will be a 1-for-1, but of course it's going to be first blood.
Radiant's top tower is
Given
under
over to
attack.
9Pandas. Who was it? Oh, okay, it was Solo that got it.
It's fine for Solo to get it, and the other thing is that he made sure he got the second use out of the Frost Blast. He dragged the Visage over to the right side. He made him miss 2 creeps underneath the tower, and he made sure that he just used his entire mana pool before dying. So, efficient little death coming there from Solo, not needing to use too many of those extra resources off the back of it.
Bottom lane Antares. Alright.
Oh, I'm surprised at
Radiant's
that.
middle tower is under attack.
How the hell does that happen?
I didn't see the start, but very well done. Just the spams, I mean... I don't think that really matters at all, though, because Miro is level 3 and already has the Ring of Health, so he's pretty much at the stage of being unkillable already. At least in this lane in particular. So, what does Antares look to do now? Like, with the Timber being untouchable in this lane, what is his role going to be now for, you know, over the next couple of minutes?
Well, you can already see that Kiyotaka is having a fine enough time against the Void Spirit, right? Like, it's only 150 net worth lead this time around, nowhere near as strong as previously, but I really wouldn't hate to see Antares just say, okay, well, I've already taken away the bounty rune, hopefully he unblocks the sentry, good. And then he just looks to play around that 4-minute mark. You know, you're playing with a Timber Saw and a Magnus, so just make stacks inside of the jungle, make the rotation towards the the bottom water rune, steal that away. As long as the coordination's there with Kiyotaka, that you're denying away what Warwick's able to get, you're totally satisfied. Seems like they know this is happening as well. That early observer would place down will spot out a bunch of these stacks being made, but again, there really isn't too much that they can do about it. Like, Kami can't rotate, and well,
You knew I was cold-blooded.
Small can't pull off, but okay. Well, Warwick was still able to get the water rune in that mid lane using the Aether Remnant to full success. So nicely done by him. Upside.
Top lane, yeah. Well, taking a lot of damage here, Cloud, though. I don't know if he's got enough to potentially turn. Tries to go for solos. Ramses into the fog, so it looks like both the 9Pandas going to be okay. They do take a lot of damage, though. Ramsey's got one more tango to work with. Solo he's got a tango as well. So it looks like they've still got a little bit of regen to work with.
Just gonna play around that flag bearer creep. Every little bit counts. Solo again, just trying to influence the lane further. I mean, this is.
Ooh.
I'm not really a Visage fan these days. I feel like the days of the Wraith Pact are over. Hopefully Ramses doesn't go too far though, because he could be in a little bit of danger if so, but good timing on the mirror image to be able to block out that charge.
Happy, dude.
I'm here happy.
He just ran into a double stacks and pretty much took his whole health pool from all the neutrals, so that's why Antares is laughing.
He'll take a freebie.
Oh, that he will indeed. Top lane again. The action continues as Cloud gaze back. Look, gets a pretty nice bash timing though. Solo might be the one that's in trouble. Grenade's going to tick him low. With the Visage, we've had a couple of games that we've casted with this hero on this patch and hasn't had any success. And I really wonder if it's just the game or if it's the Q top. Yeah, I mean, he's fine. Because I've seen Tundra have a lot of success with this hero. Is he in trouble? Skewer, is it there? It is ready. Those still going to try and charge in. Solo TP on a quarter health, but he's okay.
It's the intimidation factor, Antares. They really want to play around this power rune. Love a regen
this?
here.
Or, oh, I think he...
The second remnant didn't hit. Out of mana
Skewer's
too.
up in a couple of seconds. Nice charge timing from Lil Kiyotaka. Playing a fine line there, but now Solo's gonna be the ones in trouble as well. Glimpse back. Happy and Curry gonna be able to dive the tower thanks to the glyph. Solo will be able to get some health back thanks to the cell, but it's not enough as Warwick stops it short. Oh, beautifully done for them.
Dive by Ramses as well. He's gone behind the tier 1 tower just to try and put a little bit of extra harass on to Cloud. Not on Lil's watch though. I think Kiyotaka's just able to come back to that mid lane, continue the harassment, and again, Miara's getting his part too. Gotta say, Deucer a little bit better than expected on the bottom side. Of course, able to play around these bottom camps at around that 7-minute mark, so can look to stack this one up, give the team a little bit of a better chance to get some of those tier 1 neutral items. Really give them that little bit of extra buff that they need to be able to play this aggressive style. And I do feel like that's where HYDRA play their best owner, you know, when they're on the front foot. Kami, yes, he's able to play these heroes that get into the later stages of the game, but I think he's just got to realize that this is not the game for it. You know, your back's up against the wall. If you lose this game, you're at the very best playing tiebreakers, and this is the time to try and do something a little bit out of your comfort zone, I suppose.
At the very... Oh, Warwick. It's actually going to jump over the top for Antares. Just sees a free kill into the techies. Might not be so free though with the blast off.
You pose a danger. You have
Able to find the distance, so a quick kill. Does use a lot of resources though, so it's going to be difficult for them to contest this rune.
Another charge coming in from base onto Solo to try and protect what is actually top. So Solo, if he doesn't stay as welcome, he's dead.
Are they going to be able to fight though? Kiyotaka. RP's at the ready. He's got some one charges. Warwick's going to be able to get out. Again, like
sure
you
he doesn't
said,
get that
still...
regen.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. There's still a regen top lane. Those got to scout it out, so Warwick can love that. Oh, and he might be able to go back in. They weren't able to scout it. Doesn't have any ultis. Might catch them off guard, but I guess everyone else is pretty low on resources as well from HYDRA, so well, at least Warwick's going to be able to stay in fighting shape, and of course keep in mind, there was an RP used from Kiyotaka to no avail.
Yeah, this is not how I was expecting. You know, Kiyotaka early on, 150 net worth lead over the Void Spirit, but he's actually fallen behind by a good 700 or so off the back of some of these rotations. I gotta say once more, Lil is playing a fantastic game. Just making the right rotations, putting himself in harm's way, and punishing whenever some of these supports getting a little bit too antsy with their movements here.
This pincer move is pretty scary though. Here from the south, Kiyotaka was trying to cut them off as well throughout the mid lane. They will be able to catch up to Happy though with a nice blast off over the top of Warwick. So looking for some revenge. Really nice use of the remnant. Not able to dodge it. Antares was doing his best for it, but Warwick well aware.
many of those creeps did they actually take? I think that maybe they took like the smaller creeps in those camps when they went for that invade previously. So the bulk of the gold is still there, and of course Timbersaw popped the smoke, let him just use the chakram to tick them down, and you've got a Magnus who, I mean, maybe they do prioritize it over to Kiyotaka this game, just because he is suffering a little bit more in that mid lane than I'm sure he would have liked.
At least he's got a carry who's not suffering at the moment. Ramsey's off to an incredible start. I mean, this is about to be a Manta Cell completed at such an early timing, so it's going to buff up his farming speed. It's going to help him shove out some of the lanes as well.
They know that this is happening, though. Look at Warwick. He's making a movement in again to try and steal away some of these camps. Won't get the hard camp before it goes down. And, I mean, even though he's been playing a pretty good Void Spirit game, you just cannot stop, have the damage, excuse me, to be able to take this Ancients. It's all on Timbersaw for that one.
I would like to see HYDRA to start to play with the Visage now top lane, though. Just completed the phylactery. So he's going to be incredibly strong. Looks like they might continue to put some pressure mid, though, with 3 heroes in the catapult. But maybe once that's addressed, Cloud could be the person to go with. He's level 8. There's that big item completed for him as well. Kiyotaka. They're going to be ever so cautious. Always that RP into potential skew under the tower. Put them deeper and deeper into 9Pandas territory. So HYDRA, I'll play accordingly.
Playing well so far. Able to get a quick charge off. No, just a couple of seconds away, but they end up taking the tower. That'll give Cloud the gold that he needs to be able to get the full Medallion of Courage, I think? No, never mind. Still a good ways away from that. Go on the boots instead, but just with how he was able to manipulate the lanes means that the siege creep is still alive on this top side. So the fact that no one's responding to this, Ramsey's trying to do it now, means a lot more map that probably should be is opened up now for HYDRA to be able to play around with. Basically just taking the tower solo.
Agents of the Void.
Even Lil getting a charge off onto Ramses. The mirror image timing not perfect, but he's just being annoying right now. He's staying right next to him, even soaking up a lot of the experience. Can be very valuable against a Naga Siren who, you know, a lot of the time the net worth that you're getting is off the back of the illusions, not the actual hero putting herself in harm's way. So you can end up falling a good 3 or so levels behind the Medusa. She's already about 2 levels behind Kami right now.
Kami's balling out. Top of the net worth. I don't think he's left this portion of the map. Shoves out the lane. Goes to farm the small and the hard camp by this broken ward spot. And then another shove out of the lane. And then goes to the bottom outpost to get those 2 camps as well. I mean, it's just a perfect rotation for the Medusa. We see Ramses has been kind of doing the same thing as well. But Kami's just a little bit ahead at the moment. So level 11. Almost Manta Style completed. Does have that butterfly queued up as well. So that for me is really the biggest timing for HYDRA, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure. Having that plus the Solar Crest on the Visage as well would be very important. Visage getting into a pretty good timing as well. I mean, the lane started as a disaster for him, but he certainly made his way to recover. I mean, a couple of free towers off the back of that does make things a bit easier. Some
crazy odds, though, even though this game is dead even. All 1 to 5 for HYDRA, so you are favoring, of course, the 3rd place team at the major. Don't blame them at all, and with HYDRA being 2 and 4 currently.
Charge is going to continue on Lil, so maybe just expecting that charge would come a bit sooner. I mean, anything that just keeps the lanes pushed away, right? If you show Ramses on the lane, he's vulnerable. So I think they're going to be very happy with just even Lil taking half of that damage from the tower. It means that the lane gets shoved in, opens up potential for them to make a play elsewhere. Seems like that's how they want to do it too. Just 500 gold away from the Solar Crest on Cloud. You would love to have his level 12, but maybe you find a quick pick off first, and that's what gives you the extra XP for it.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Well, we get the bounce back. Warwick knows no fear with this shield rune. He's able to play very aggressive up in the face of 9Pandas. They got the glimpse of the ready as well, but happy. So only level 5, pretty nice position for Matari, stuck into the trees along with Kiyotaka, but that kill might help them secure the power rune, which looks like once again is going to go HYDRA's way.
Yeah, full HP as well, and mana for Warwick off the back of this. I mean, it's a great positioning of the Observer Ward, right, to the north side of where they got that kill on Solo. Just a little bit out of range of the high ground cliff there, so if Solo looks to try and de-ward it, won't be all that successful. they'll see that Solo has come back to this lane pretty quickly as well, so if they wanted to, they could maybe make a quick play up towards the top side of the map, would probably need a smoke for it, and you know that the Lich isn't going to be there. Doesn't seem like that's the case though. Going to get into their next items first. Level 13 now on the Deucer versus almost level 12 on Ramses, so he's doing a fairly decent job, and he's actually going into an Orchid for himself, so realizing that they know that the aggression is coming soon from HYDRA, right? He's just constantly going to be keeping track of the Visage specifically. Solar Crest now, quarter of a level into level 12.
Yeah, and do you feel like with this Solar Crest picked up now, HYDRA should consider Roche? Because it feels like they've been really the ones being proactive, and so far 9Pandas, they've been just a team that wants to farm as much as they can with this Tricore lineup. So for HYDRA, do you want to say, all right, let's go fight Roche, either we get it for free or Pandas come and contest, and then we also then end up getting a team fight, which we kind of want as well?
Yeah, it wouldn't be the worst idea. Maybe they just want to quickly get usage out of these 15-minute siege creeps first. You can see Kami down on the bottom side, got the Manta illusions available if he wants them. You're going to have the creep wave joining in soon enough as well, so maybe just with the Timbersaw showing mid with relatively low mana, he might just say, look, there really isn't anything stopping me from taking this one, so it's going to really depend, right? Like, if Ramses is on point with his TP, he's just leveled up the Song of the Siren, which he didn't have previously, so maybe you actually put yourself in the wrong sort of area, 4 points in the skewer, get skewered back, isolated, which is what we were mentioning was a big win condition for 9Pandas, just getting that Deucer away from the rest of the team.
Does it look like they're...
So annoying with his illusions, keeping the lanes shoved away with them.
It seems like they're starting to clump up around mid though on 9Pandas, like Miro posturing a little bit more up forward, and Ramses as well is always at the ready now with this Orchid completed, so maybe they are going to be looking for a fight. Unfortunately, it could be into a double damage rune as again Warwick 3 runes in a row, probably more. I mean, Shield, Arcane, and now the DD to work with.
Kami just extending his net worth even further as soon as he picks up that butterfly, but he'll be able to get a quick kill onto the techies. Thank you very much.
They're coming over though. Miro wants a brawl, and Tyrus hasn't gone down just yet. Should still be able to secure the kill. Nice blast off over the top, and then Tyrus, he'll live to see another day unless the snake bounces back, but it's not enough. And now Mimo Kiyotaka unable to find the RP combo. Kami though into the middle. It's a lot of damage, but the Medusa getting rid of Miura's health pool in the end. It's a 2 for 2. RP still wasn't used from Kiyotaka. Feel like they're strong enough to take the fight. Kami split away from the boys. Then after Medusa act as a bodyguard, RP is going to get laid down. Even with a glimpse away, it will not matter. Ramses, plenty of damage by himself to shut away Cloud's gameplay. So 9Pandas will slightly come out on top, 3-2 favoring them.
Love the fact that Ramses turned up there as well. You know, just using the ensnare to find that quick pick off onto the Void Spirit. Not expecting it off the back of the Orchid as well. You know, if you're going to commit that deeply, he's going to need the Manta style, which you can see Warwick immediately queues up as well. So, wants to always have that ability to be able to get out of some of that lockdown that they have, to be able to get rid of the reactive taser as well. I mean, that was a case of Lil just being a little bit too selfless. You know, he wanted to make sure that Warwick got the last hit so that he would get into his next item pretty quickly. Good timing as well on the charge by Lil. Might be able to dodge out the skewer, and it looks like he will. Can the rest of the boys connect with him is the question.
And the Ares here to offer some assistance. Kiyotaka is pretty beefy, 2500 health. Got a shred through, and looks like in fact they do it with ease. And now Miero as well might be in some trouble with the static storm up in a couple of seconds. Still able to get out of range of the kinetic field. They've got the glimpse to drag him back. Miero though, well, this one is a much more difficult kill for them to find. Where are the boys? 9Pandas are starting to TP, and with the static storm finally used, the song will not matter. They'll get the kill onto Miero. Ramsey's trying to sit up from Antares, but Techies is hesitant. Butterfly was just delivered as well from Kami, so this is that ultra spike they're looking for from HYDRA. And with those 2 kills, they might look to try and consider about Roche.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the Manta Illusions just pushing the next wave in, so you're going to need to address these ones pushing into the tower. They even popped the Glyph just to get that multi-shot on so that they could get any sort of kill. It ends up securing the Spirit Breaker for it, but again, like you said, at what cost? The Solar Crest now onto Roshan. He's attacking so slow with the Grave Chill as well, and this is exactly what they need, right? Up the tempo, push things forward, despite the fact that it's a... early Roshan going their way, all the towers really in favor of HYDRA. The net worth and even the win probability still favoring the scaling potential of 9Pandas. Even Solo looking to potentially take a tower bot solo. I mean, might cost his life for it, but worth it to open up the map a little bit.
Spend your gold, son. Come on. Oh, he's not even going to die. All right. So I wonder now, Dive, they might be considering about some halberds. I mean, it's super early on. Miero's got a lot of farms where he can if he wants to, but Crimson, and it looks like he's actually going to go Yule Scepter, which there's a lot of value this game. Yule's against the Static Storm in particular defensively, but against the Spirit Breaker as well. But he's got the capability to go halberd. We know Techies is very versatile with his build as well, so I wonder if Antares wants to consider about that once the Solar Crest is completed.
I mean, you mentioned the Solar Crest. Even just that is such a useful item to have against the Medusa, right? Like, 70 attack speed slow cannot be underestimated. Dived a little bit here. Say a little bit, indeed. A lot. But even, like, that plus the Frost Blast, if you're able to get in range for it on solo, like, you are reducing 130 attack speed. And Medusa really tickles off the back of that. Like, she's not doing as much as you would be wanting. And I think they just finished up a Crimson Guard on the Timbersaw as well. So you're going to have a lot of protection for these Naga Illusions now, even off the back of this the Medusa with the split shot.
Look at the vision that I have set up around this mid lane. So that's really the next objective. I guess they are about to expire, like that cliff forward, 5 seconds left. The one in the river as well, only 40 seconds left as well. So this is probably the next location we're going to see a fight break out, because HYDRA, they're going to look to go from lane to lane. Tier 2 to potentially the bottom tier 2 as well. Unfortunately, they won't have the time where they get the bottom tier 2 along with the Wisdom Room and the Tormentor. And 9Pandas is going to be able to pick up the Techies one, which is, I mean, we were speaking about the Psalms. That Techie shot is lovely for that.
Yeah, just the one point in it. So, you know, if there was any downside, it's just that you need to obviously put a lot more into other skills.
Do they need the Static Storm for this? Miero's pretty beefy. Parbus, along with the Crimson, shrugs off this first attempt.
Ramses look to do. Can he find a way to be able to wrap in onto the backside? He would love to be able to get in onto Happy with that that Orchid, but Happy on the Disruptor actually has a Blink Dagger as well, so he could stay well back away from the fight. Make sure that he never gets picked off.
Kind of lost their formation though. They're not playing behind Army, so they might lose Happy if Kiyotaka's going to be able to find the angle. Nice blink though. Gets out of danger, so instantly Kami wants to put himself back on the front line. They're actually going to go. Kiyotaka stepped out forward. Pops the BKB defensively. It's going to look over for Lil. Lil's okay, though. Skewer's not going to be able to drag him back. Get some separation thanks to the ultimate. A messy start for the boys on 9Pandas. Now Ramses tries to move on. He's able to sidestep out of the Static Storm. It's okay for the moment. Meanwhile, Kiyotaka as well. Keep in mind, he used the BKB prior. This is getting really awkward. What can they do now? In stock inside the river, Kiyotaka drops the RP. Cloud, though, his heal back up to full. Visage shrugs up for the damage in 9Pandas. It's an all-out retreat, but can they get away? Because Lil is going to try and hunt them down, but instantly shot down thanks to Miero along with Solo. Still looking dangerous, though. Inside the river, Ramses hasn't been able to get away just yet. Will get a kill before he slips out of danger. Pandas, maybe they want to be the ones on the front foot. Once again, Miero looking to charge in, even a smoke on the backline to help the supports connect as Ramses go straight towards Cloud. They want to take the Visage out of the equation. They'll do so with ease. It was looking like a very messy start to the fight for 9Pandas, but the communication was perfect for them to reposition. In the end, they will come out on top unscathed.
Long ass fight though. The Chain Frost actually came off cooldown at the end of all that. as yeah, Solo just continues to go forward. One thing that, I mean, he's died 6 times, but I really feel like he has valued his life quite heavily in a lot of these engagements, right? Never wanting to super fully commit. He knows how important he is with the Frost Shield, going up against the Deucer, going up against the Visage as well. That plus the Crimson Guard, it really feels like the things that 9Pandas are looking to heavily fight around. Obviously, big things like finding that that skewer back into the rest of the team. You're playing around those. You're playing around the RP. And it's going to become even more so once Kiyotaka gets into the Blink Dagger, but yeah, they know how strong they are once they've got this the Lynch and the Crimson Guard available.
And my big concern is that HYDRA maybe didn't get enough objectives off this first rush. I mean, Skadi is huge. Skadi is huge. It gives you a lot of kill threat versus Miero with all your HP regen.
Radiant's bottom
But
tower is under attack.
I mean, hard as well for Naga, which is completed for Rams. Almost butterfly. Dude, he's huge on Rams. Is a Skadi
he's
going to
even
be enough
ahead.
though?
He's ahead on levels as well from the Medusa, which you do not
Which is
expect
crazy.
to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, from like Ramses, that is his biggest thing. He's never been short on confidence. Always just an insane amount of farming that he's able to do. Were you part of that that panel that I was on when it was like when BTS was doing it and it was the Eastern European stuff and Ramses was interviewed?
No.
So basically, like, he ran the interview the whole time. He was like, after a few questions, like, okay, the interview's over now, bye-bye. Like, he is not short on confidence, and he's just like, he knows what he's good at, and that's Dota, and he knows that he has what it takes to be the absolute best. He's really putting through a lot of these performances now. First, obviously, over at the Berlin Major, but, I mean, showing why 9Pandas are one of those top 3 favorites. And we might even have found out Kami's isolated.
Skadi was just completed, so a lot of extra stats. Kitaka's gonna wait for the Stone Gates to expire and then make the leap.
Where are the boys?
Drag straight back. There's the Static Storm. Now the boys have shown up. Is it gonna be enough though? Man is gone.
Way too
And
late.
once that takes care of, the health will soon fall as well. Lil tries to get the charge out to the east, but Solo quick on the fingers. The old man still got it ready with the gaze and might be high ground time. You got 50 seconds with Kami down. You could potentially poke this T3 tower.
Cloud doesn't have a TP as well. Like, he's got his courier coming out to him right now, but, like,
That's on
still
cooldown
got
for
50 seconds. Yeah, I mean, that must have been it, right? They must have seen that people had TP'd away without any sort of cooldowns. I mean, of course, as well, anytime you see a Deucer isolated from the rest of your team, you're going to say thank you very much, but this is just an additional bonus.
Radiant structures
So that's one nice minor I guess Solo still needed the Talisman of Evasion. I thought that complete Halberd was but
Yeah, no one had TP. The only one that had it, I think, was the Spirit Breaker, and maybe the Disruptor, but it was far too late.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
I'm trying to work out if the Deucer can do it by herself.
I don't think so. I think, you know, Miero, his damage is going to start scaling now. Like, he has been pretty much just this unbeatable wall that you have to go past to be able to get to the rest of the team. He's died a couple of times, sure. Once he gets that Aghanim Scepter, things completely change. You know, the spell amplification, the amount of damage that reactive armor does is insane. And with the Crimson Guard and everything else that you've got, providing you that that block potential, you're almost always going to get full value out of the explosion at the very end. So, I mean, good luck being able to try and get through this guy. Just adds another one of those cooldowns that you're going to need to keep in mind, right? We were talking about the Crimson Guard, we were talking about the Frost Shield, but you're also going to need to consider the active ability of the reactive armor too.
Does he die this game without a Silver's Edge? I don't know.
I don't think he does. Maybe inside of like an Aghanim Scepter Static Storm. Still a while away from that. Basically just roaming across the map, taking away towers at will. They're not going to stick around for the Wisdom Rune, although it is being pinged out now by Miero, so he's going to have a quick look-see to see if he can pick it up. I wonder if the team is saying, don't do something stupid. Could maybe have sent one of the Naga illusions there to be able to deny it at least, but who's going to get to it first? Cloud? The temptation is too strong. I mean, getting him up to level 18 is going to be a pretty big damage boost as well, of course, with that Solar Crest as well. But yeah, I mean, I feel like you do need that Silver Edge to be able to reliably take these fights. I'm not sure if Lil's choice for going for the Aghanim Scepter is the best possible option, you know? Like, the Shadow Blade, it's a standard build-up for the Spirit Breaker, and it would have just provided so much value if you're able to burst down the Timber Saw at the start of these fights. Similar sort of thing has to be said, though, for Kiyotaka. I mean, if he can get in onto Cloud, get that break off, disable the Gravekeeper's Cloak, he will melt like butter.
There are still nonetheless some big items though that Hydra just got. Nullifier on Warwick, and so that Scepter is now completed as well for Lil. So we'll see if they can even get in the pit fast enough, and it's not going to be the case. Roche is already down, so scary fight for them now to take. Hydra back on the retreat. The back foot they go, maybe towards their triangle to set up a team fight around this location, but they're split once again.
They might see that Lil has just bought out this Aghanim Scepter, so if you get Aghanim Scepter, it's not one of these things that you hold for buyback.
Oh, he even BKB'd for Target, gets rid of the glimpse. Well, there's going to be no escape for Cloud, skewing further away from potential any other reinforcements.
No buyback for Cloud either.
50 seconds now without the Visage. This could be a lot of objective damage now for 9Pandas.
Get the one range creep that was protecting, even just little body blocks to make sure that they didn't get that full wave pushed in. Lil as well on that bottom side of the map, just keeping it shoved in, farming away as much as he can, going into the Boots of Bearing. I mean, you don't hate him for doing it, even just looking to get multiple value out of charging through bot, charging towards top. He wants to just keep these waves as far away from the base as possible, while 9Pandas want to make use out of that Aegis. He's actually going Octarine instead of the Aghanim Scepter. Maybe he already feels unkillable with the cheese and the Dandelion Amulet, Timber.
Okay. Oh, nice attempt. Almost was perfect with the Manta. Happy's going to try and protect him, but the Stargaze did go off as well. Where's his mana? Gets a lot back thanks to the Snake, but still is in a lot of trouble. Dragged outside the base. The boys, they're going to try and do whatever they can, but then Taris jumps in to stop the retreat, and Kami once again, he's gone. And he doesn't have it to buy back, and that just might be the last fight. With the creeps inside the base, 9Pandas, they can look to start to go to work. Drag back onto Mr. Warwick. He won't even be able to see the light of day. And now Cloud as well is in a lot of trouble. Kiyotaka finds another member. This is looking like it might be all she wrote. Pandas top and mid should be free for them to be able to claim. Do they just want to go for the throne, though?
Test the buybacks, why not?
Oh,
there's nothing left. I'm sure it's some sort of pub. Hopefully it's in good nature, and they've even finished up that Silver Edge that I was talking about on the Magnus as well, so they're just going to end this one. Quick DC as well coming through from Lil. Obviously, ex-teammates with Ramses and Solo, but clearly no love lost here. Not wanting to stay in that lobby for longer than necessary. Pretty clinical performance coming through from the 9Pandas there. Just, again, showing the ability to play around these universal heroes, the ability to have such a wide range of heroes as well, but you got to say, some of it was kind of given to them. You know, you knew the Techies was going to come for Antares, by far his most played hero. You pretty much knew that Solo was going to come through, and despite that, it was a pretty heavy physical damage drafted lineup, and I mean, it's still going up against a Timbersaw as well, up top of the Crimson Guard and everything else that they had. So, yeah, 9Pandas just doing 9Pandas stuff, doing work, and getting themselves one step closer towards the Bali Major.
Yep, that's the big thing. One step closer for them. They're going to jump up to 4-1, so tied with BetBoom in that second slot. And importantly for HYDRA now, their fate really relies on other teams losing. Because currently they're finished. That's their last series. They're 2-5. So they have the same wins as Nemiga and one move. So as long as at least one of those teams don't, well, Nemiga still have 2 more series left. So again, if Nemiga lose both of those, yeah, like you said, what is it? VP plus one of the top 3 teams.
Yes,
BetBoom.
correct.
So
really, HYDRA, they just need one other team to be
as well. So
okay, which is also pretty rough. So
for their last game.
We'll see.
So
that
based off of like expectations, we're probably going to see a 3-way tiebreaker for 1 relegation slot at the end of the season with 3 teams on 2 and 5, which it's exciting, but it's very stressful.
It is.
You know, so we saw like glimpses of good things here from HYDRA, right? The early game always solid coming through from them, but it's just the lack of ability either through luck or something else that happens, like a pickoff doesn't go perfectly to plan. You miss that small window, 9Pandas will make it pay. Spirit will make you pay, BetBoom will make you play, and these are the teams that you have to beat if you're wanting to not have the risk of going through tiebreakers, right? If you just feel like we're good enough to be in Division 1, maybe not quite yet at that major step.
Well, hopefully for them, like you said, they're able to potentially get some tiebreakers and play some games to stick around. So for HYDRA, their season is done at the moment, at least in the regular season, if you want to call it. But for us tonight, we're not done just yet as well. We are going to have a long break. It's going to be probably about 55 minutes until our second and final series of the night as well. But it's going to be Spirit versus One Move, so a lot on the line. Spirit, they can potentially book their ticket into the Bali Major, and like we were just saying, One Move with a win, they will guarantee their slot as well in Division 1 for next year's DPC. So still a lot to play for here for the rest of the night, but again, it's going to be a long break. So when we come back, we've got Spirit up against One Move. We'll see you guys then.